Hey guys, this is Jill and Darren with Stoke Events Podcast.
And we're talking all things related to life, relationships, and overall well-being. This is the Stoke Events Podcast.
Hi, welcome back to Stoke Events Podcast. I'm Jill.
And I'm Darren. Thank you so much for joining us. Jill Jones, how you doing?
I'm doing fantastic.
Doing good. Doing good over here. Stoic Events, baby. We're going to pick right up. We're going to jump right into this one, right?
Yeah.
This one is control your thoughts. Jill and I really thought that this would be a great topic for us to really tackle head on. We heard a little rumor, not a rumor, but we heard a story of a massive tragedy in a family, and it's just like really got it under our skin to talk about some serious stuff. So this one's going to be talking about your thoughts and right between your ears, baby.
Well, you have to control your thoughts or your thoughts are going to control you.
That's right. It's inevitable. And you know right now while you're listening to this, either you are controlling your thoughts or it is reversed and them thoughts are running a train on you all day long.
And thoughts aren't always facts.
Yeah.
I think some people think that, well, I thought it, so this must be true.
Oh, I hear it all the time, so it must be true.
Right.
Your thoughts are just on autopilot, right? It's your subconscious is telling your thoughts what to say, right? Mm-hmm. Just all the time. You're going to you hear in your mind that you like yourself or you just don't want to be with yourself.
Well, that's the thing. It's, right. People say, well, how can I control my thoughts? How can I control my thoughts? We've seen those memes. They're all over. They're on TikTok. They're on Instagram where there's cute little kids. They get up on top of the sinks and they start yelling at themselves first thing in the morning. I am great. I'm fantastic. That's what they're doing. They're controlling their thoughts. They're changing the narrative in their head of, I suck. I don't want to do this today. I don't feel good. I have no energy. I'm not pretty enough. Whatever it is, by doing that, they're giving themselves these words of affirmation, but they're pumping themselves up. We are our best friends.
Biggest cheerleader or your biggest demise.
We need to pump ourselves up, you know?
I like that. You like back to what you're saying about the little kids, if you got to talk to yourself a certain way, and you already do. You already talk to yourself that way. Mm-hmm. When you wake up, I almost always wake up negative. Just being honest, I wake up negative, right? Not feeling it, not wanting to do it. But your self-talk's going to kick in, and your self-talk's going to kick in based on some of these things that we're going to talk about here, right? Mm-hmm. And if you can't get your thoughts under control, you're not going to be able to have your self-talk down. It's just not going to happen. How you talk to yourself is going to be very negative unless you have good thoughts get pumped in your head.
Well, and I think in order for you to be successful in any area of your life, regardless of what you're trying to do, whether you work for corporate America or you're an entrepreneur and you do things yourself, you have to be able to control those thoughts because those thoughts they can run you. Like if you have thoughts of fear, you know what thoughts of fear do?
Mm-hmm. What do thoughts of fear bring?
Oh, nothing but negativity, nothing but sorrow.
Yeah.
And fear is you can fear. Okay. We had a friend that we went to high school with, and he would call Darren all the time, and he would be so stressed out and so fearful.
Webster, New York, Dave Mason, rest in power, brother.
He would call Darren and would be so fearful of his mom passing away. Yeah. She was battling cancer, right?
Yeah, he would call me. Dave would call me. I was living in California, and he'd pick up the phone. He'd dye his mohawk pink for his mother. She had breast cancer, right? Mm-hmm. And he'd be like, Darren, I don't know how I'm going to deal with this, man. This is going to be a massive tragedy for me and my family. I can't process this. And he'd say it over and over, a few years in a row. Well, come to find out, Dave Mason passed unexpectedly as a young man. And what we learned from that was you can put a lot of fear and worry and frustration out in the future, and it might never even come to you.
Right. So he spent all this time worrying he's going to lose his mama, and his mama wound up losing him.
That might actually happen to you. Yeah. And I'm not saying that that's what happened to Dave. He didn't bring that on himself by any means, but we're focusing on things when man, we're just so far out in front that we just got to be right here, and that's your thoughts. You have to control your thoughts. So Dave was unable to control his thoughts because he was ruled by fear of what could happen to his mother, and it never happened to his mother.
No,
for his existence,
and he could have taken that time and put the energy that he gave his fear into time with his mom.
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. It's so important to understand there's like two trains of thought you can have, and they're both seeds, and they're both going to reap some.
And just for the record, I'm not knocking what Dave did. I think I probably would too. I think it's just a natural reaction.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But you know, sometimes when people go through things and you kind of help them through those things, you learn by watching them go through it. And then you're like, man, look at all that time he wasted worrying when he could have used that same energy. We only have so much energy, you know. He could have used that same energy, poured into a different direction, you know, instead of living in the last days of his life when he didn't know, in just fear and worry. Worrying
about something that was unable to affect Dave Mason. That would never have affected him. And he would put pumping energy into it, and that was the point of it, you know. And you have two seeds, right? Two things you can have in your mind. You can either have fear or you can have courage. And while we speak, you either have that inside of you right now. You say, "Oh, I feel like I'm pretty filled with courage, man," or you're like, "Man, I'm pretty scared." And if you're filled with fear, it's only going to reap hesitation. You keep watering that, it's going to keep reaping hesitation. But if you water the courage, it's going to grow boldness, right? So there's two seeds, fear and courage. And if you water them, man, you're going to have a massive differently outcome.
But I also think that sometimes is like a roller coaster ride, you know? Like sometimes you have fear, then you have the courage, then you have the fear again, then you have the courage again, then you have the fear again. You know, it's like this constant okay, this is fun. No, I hate this. Okay, this is a lot of fun. Okay, no, I hate this again. Yeah. You know, and that's what it's like. And sometimes, you know, we let it rule us. It kind of goes back into our podcast that we talked about last week about journaling. You know, you can look back, like I had said, sometimes I write down things that are in my mind, and then before I'm done, I'm already rebuttaling what I'm saying. I'm already saying to myself, Jill, why'd you say that? That's not true.
You got it out.
Yeah, because I got it out. Yep. You know, and sometimes if you recognize the thought, you can change the narrative in your head.
Yeah.
If you recognize it, change the narrative. You know, pray, have faith. Have faith that things are going to work out the way that you want them to work out.
I think a big thing, too, is like intentions, right? Like, you know, you can have fear, but what are your intentions? Are you watering that? You're going to have a natural feeling, right? Mm-hmm. And if you have courage, that might not be a natural feeling, but you're taking an intention to be courageous in a time that it might take a lot of pressure. So your intentions are massive. Mm-hmm. Massive in everything. I mean, if your effort goes the longest of ways, so your thoughts will come around, and I think you're balanced out from all that. Mm-hmm. If you're always putting your intentions towards your thoughts. But
I think it's a never-ending battle. I don't think that this is not something that you'll just stop worrying about your thoughts. Your thoughts are always going to bring up something.
And that's why we got to talk about this stuff. Yeah, because you're gonna veer off, and like we all do, right? And you're gonna veer off, and you're gonna get caught up in fear, and you're gonna be in a little box of fear. And how do you get out? That's why we're talking about this, because we're all inevitably need to get out of that. Mm-hmm. And we all suffer and get battled with it, right? Mm-hmm. So when you obey fear, it wins. Mm-hmm. It's winning every time you give into it. But it's not true. None of it's true. Fear is not true. It's only true if it happens. How do you know it's going to happen? Right?
Yeah, it's like playing Guess Who.
Yeah, I think I read a guy that wrote this online the other day. He died twice and came back. And he said, everybody's so scared of dying, but I've experienced it twice and it was pretty peaceful. 8 billion people on this planet scared of dying. That guy died twice and said, don't be scared. But we're all scared of dying.
Well, I think it's just the unknown.
I know, but just don't put fear towards it, right? It's okay to have a little bit of apprehensions about. We don't need to be fearful and let it rule our day and set up a perimeter around us and rule us with fear. Mm-hmm. You know.
Well, and again, you protect yourself by protecting who you hang out with, right? Like, so if you already know you battle with your thoughts of depression or whatever, you don't want to be around someone else who battles the same thing.
Yeah.
You want to be around someone that's going to help lift you up and get you out of that and remind you of how great and powerful and worthy you are of an amazing life.
We were talking about this yesterday too, like we'll get into this eventually too in the next episode, but it's about what you put inside you too. If you're listening to negative music, if you're listening to negative talks and aggressive speaking, you're going to turn into that. But if you're listening to people who are compassionate and understanding and are working on personal development and growth, then that's where you need to be. But it just doesn't happen for you. It's not just going to, I'm motivated, so it's going to happen. It's not going to happen that way.
Well, and sometimes I think, you know, if you're married to your best friend, you should be able to confide some things into your best friend to say, hey, look, I'm struggling with these thoughts. Or if you don't feel comfortable doing that because they're struggling so bad with it, go to therapy. There's nothing wrong with going to therapy.
She said the T word. Can't say the T word.
So many people have so much taboo over it. Like
counseling, therapy.
There must be something wrong with you. There's something wrong with you because you go to therapy.
We both had therapy and learned so much from it. And a lot of the truths that we speak on are from therapy.
Yeah.
Or have confirmed and help us to bring some of that stuff out. Like, it's so big to understand who you are and your thoughts. This is what this whole podcast is about. It all starts with your thoughts. We can talk about self-talk. We can talk about discipline. We can talk about a lot of things. But if you don't get your thoughts under control, you're on a dangerous course. A very, very dangerous course of like depression and what that whole thing brings. So get your thoughts together, man. This is a challenge to get your thoughts together, right?
Yeah. Because, I mean, your thoughts are either going to lift you up or kill you.
There's no... you can play around in the middle. But you might as well just go
the middle would be what? Depression?
Yeah, constantly.
I mean,
mediocre,
like really.
And not satisfied, and just always looking at yourself like, I'm gonna someday. Just get your thoughts together and go for it, man. Like,
and it's not always easy, you know.
No.
You really have to fight against them because just as soon as you think you conquered that thought,
oh yeah,
a month later it's gonna come back.
It's gonna tap you on the shoulder and say, "Are you sure you're over me?"
Yes, I am. Get off my shoulder.
I've struggled with depression my whole life, right? Decades. And it still taps me on the shoulder. Hey, are you sure you're okay? You don't want to be depressed about childhood, about some bad thing that happened to you? It's going to test you all the time. That's why you have to get your thoughts under control. The only way you can do that is with discipline. Your motivation will not smack your thoughts into alignment so I'm a better person because I got motivated. That's going out the door in 3 weeks. Motivation is going out the door in 3 weeks, and you need to start working on discipline. I need to start working on discipline. We all need to be more disciplined to get our thoughts in control.
Well, motivation is a temporary thing, right? You know, where your thoughts are a continual thing that happens in your brain.
And motivation's huge. It's massive. You need that.
Yeah.
Someone can motivate you.
But it's temporary. But it's temporary.
Yeah, but you better get on it and stay on it. If you discipline is like.
But that's what I'm getting at. Discipline is not temporary. Discipline is something you should be doing on the regular. Yeah. Discipline is something you need to be instilling in your life and your everyday move.
Every day.
Discipline in your habits, discipline in your talk, discipline in your thoughts, discipline in your actions.
Yep.
You know, if you're trying to achieve things, you've got to conquer all of these things, and all these things go together.
You want to know what discipline does? It kills fear.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It kills it. If you're scared, get a routine down. That's why in the last podcast we talked about journaling for 3 weeks. Get some discipline, and man, you will not be scared. You will be fearless because you just got a routine and you start seeing that you can do it. But without discipline, this will never be right. Without discipline, it will never be right. You'll always go back and forth. You'll feel good. You'll go to the gym, then you'll get out. Then you do, but your discipline will keep you going, and then this will start getting more powerful. But without discipline, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. We have to get to the point of understanding how important our thoughts are, and if you can get your discipline down, you're on a rocket ship for a new life.
Well, and I think too, like if you don't control your thoughts are going to control you, and that could be a good thing, but it can also be a very bad thing, depending on what your thoughts are. You know. Yeah. And so you just want to make sure you keep yourself in check. Yeah. Have yourself an accountability buddy or something.
It's so big to have one person in your life that you can say, hey, I'm in a bad spot. I got my person, but you need to find a person, one person. I've really, really gone on this journey for over a year now of hard discipline in my life. And I'm telling you, it really, really works. This is from experience. It's changed my life in the last year. I've been really, really disciplined. But in the last year, this has changed my life. And if you can get disciplined, your thoughts are really going to get in check, man. You're going to start seeing, wow.
So how would you say discipline has helped you with your thoughts, though?
Because what discipline does to you is it confirms to you who you are, right? You can't deny who you are when you start building wins. And what discipline does is it starts giving you a win. So if you're going to be disciplined to, say, get up in the morning, which we do, right? We get up very religiously in the morning for that tough wake up to be disciplined, right? Never mind what you do that one thing. Well, if you can get up and you can wake up, you got one win. Oh, I got a win. And then if you can get something good in you to eat, there's another one. And if you can get a workout, now you got 3 wins. If you can write something down, you got another one. If you read something, there's another one. You got 5 wins. If you're not disciplined and you just wake up, I don't have time to take a shower, and the boss just told me I'm this, and I'm running late, and I got to get gas, and I didn't get my coffee. You just got 5 W's. Your mind is L's. You're complete mush the rest of the morning. Now you keep saying, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. But when you get in front of your day and you're disciplined and you put your hand to it, you don't have to get up at 2 o'clock. You don't have to make these big, massive goals, but you do have to keep promises to yourself. And that's what discipline is. If you don't keep promises to yourself, your self-talk's crap. But when you keep promises to yourself, they can say whatever you want. I kept my promises to yourself. And I can almost guarantee you that 90% of humans don't keep promises to themselves.
It's very hard to do.
Right.
It's very hard to do. Again, I think thoughts are something that contribute to that because, you say, okay, I want to do this. I'm going to get on the treadmill when I get home after dinner. And then after dinner, I'm like, And your head's like, you don't have to go out there right now.
Okay, now
you already did this or that, the other today. But I had told myself I wanted to do that or I was going to do that, so I need to make sure I do that. But you're the first one that's going to say no to yourself.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Versus if you were going to go meet a girlfriend or a guy somewhere, and you're supposed to meet them after dinner for a cup of coffee or something, you're not going to miss that. Yeah. Because you already told them I will be at Starbucks at 7 o'clock. Well, you're going to be at Starbucks at 7 o'clock, whether you are telling yourself I don't really want to go. I've had a long day at work. I just want to stay home. You're going to go. Yeah. It's we always say no to ourselves. Yeah. Always to ourselves.
Yeah, if you got a workout buddy and you say, I'm going to meet you at whatever time, and they say, I'm not going to go, it's easier for you not to go. But if you make that promise to yourself, say, Darren, you're going, then Darren needs to hold Darren accountable to make sure that Darren's keeping Darren going. It's that militant with it. You have to be so, we're doing this.
Well, I think you have to know what your end goal is, too,
And it might just be I need to read this book. I have to read this book. Get to it. Read 2 pages a night. You said you're going to do it. But if you don't do it, getting back to your question, and you don't keep promises, now you got to go clean up your act and you got a reason why you don't keep promises to yourself. That is a never-ending loop you do to yourself. Why didn't you work out today? I had to. I walked extra, so yeah. You never give those excuses to someone else.
Right.
They would not buy those excuses, but we buy our own bullshit. That's what we do. We buy it every day. Oh, it's okay. I'll buy my own, but you got to stop buying your own bullcrap, man. Our thoughts suck because we talk to ourselves terrible, and it's this vicious circle. But the discipline will get us out of it.
Well, your thoughts are the engine in your car.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Chugging along all day, baby.
Your life,
they don't stop.
Your car is either going to run smooth or it's going to putz along. And it's all according to your thoughts in your head.
So why wouldn't you want to be having a car that's just purring down the road instead of hiccuping and coughing the whole way? Let's get it under control.
It also affects your relationships because when you could be thinking something and it could have nothing to do with the person you're about to talk to, but you already have a stink, funk, nasty attitude because of a thought that
People
you have.
can feel that crap.
And they can feel it. They seriously can feel it.
You can feel someone's spirit sometime literally come in the room before their actual body gets there, I swear.
That's why performers, before any performance that they do, anytime they get on stage, they're always back there and let's go. I'm good.
Baby.
I'm good. I got this. I'm going to go get this. I'm going to crush it. They're hyping themselves up.
Yeah. You have to.
They have
What do you think you do in the morning when you wake up, man? We got to get this day. We got to have a positive mindset. We're strong. We believe we're going to go attack it. But if you wake up and you're like, well, we'll see what happens, and I hope I make it, and I don't know what I'm doing for lunch, man, you are going to get rode all day. Have fun with that. That is not fun. I've done that for 30 years.
I think too, with your thoughts, if you if you don't control your thoughts and you don't get them back to a positive shift, then they can really force you to make a decision that probably isn't necessarily the right decision, all because of a thought you had.
You could ruin your life.
You could. You're one decision away.
I'm not going to get too much into it, but the whole story of suicide is based off of this entire podcast. Like, if you don't get your thoughts together, you mess around in the middle, to go all the way to the right, and all your dreams are here. But if you mess around, go all the way to the left, and we know the end result. We cannot play in the middle with our thoughts. It's not time to mess around anymore with this. So it's really close to our heart. And it's very, very important that you get your thoughts under control, because they will take your life from you. I'll just leave it at that, right? Very important.
It could.
It could. And I'm not saying it will, but you got to get your thoughts, and then your self-talk is going to really, really come alive. You're going to start saying, wow, I think I can, like the engine man, and then before you know it, you're just this unstoppable force.
Well, and all these things help you in all aspects of your life, with your relationships, with yourself, with work, with your dreams, with whatever you got going on. It all of it starts with your thoughts. Like if you're an entrepreneur, you just started your own business, or you just started a new adventure at a job, it all started with a thought in your head. I think I want to find a new job.
Yeah.
Or I think I want to start this business.
This thing right here wasn't even here until some person was like, I'm going to make this thing with a lion and a lamb. And they took it to the thing, and then they made it. But it all started as a thought. Everything starts as a thought. Right?
Yeah.
If you don't control your thoughts will control you. I promise you it will. So just take one step forward directly towards that thing that scares you right now. That's what you got to do. And when you do that, you're just going to build so much strength inside of you. But if you don't take that step towards that thing that you're scared of, you're going to be a coward the rest of your life. You have to take.
Well, I heard it like this today on a podcast that, people at the end of their life, when they're on their deathbed, the one thing that they wish they would have done is taken those leaps of faith.
Yeah, and not live their life by other people's expectations of them. That's what that was. It was one of the 5 things that people in hospice say. I wish I didn't live my life by other people's standards. And that all starts with your thoughts. And who controls your thoughts? You or what other people say and what the world does? You have to control your thoughts. Don't let your life slip by without you controlling your thoughts. Massively important. Massive.
Well, and again, I mean, we say this a lot on this podcast, but we have so much technology at our fingertips, literally at our fingertips, that we see all kinds of things.
Yeah.
You got YouTube, you've got all the streaming devices on your phone, you've got Facebook, Instagram, all that stuff. So you see all kinds of stuff that can change your thoughts and can change your feelings. You hear someone else's opinion about, say, politics or something like that, and all of a sudden it starts sparking your mind going, and it's either going to be fear or anger or frustration, or it doesn't necessarily always be like, I'm supporting you. It could be something negative.
You're being influenced,
and you are, and it's affecting you, the way that you think, and things that are going in your head, and sometimes it's not a positive thing. So you have to learn to be able to control those things, because you're not going to be able to control everything that you put into your eyeballs.
Yeah.
You're gonna. People are gonna send you stuff, and you're gonna be like, dude, why did you send this to me? I don't like this kind of stuff.
I don't want to see that.
But they felt like they wanted to, and so you already saw it. You have no control. It's like, so there's so many things that are so at the forefront of our faces nowadays that if we don't learn to control ourselves and have discipline for ourselves, man, it's gonna be tough.
Yeah. You got to fight for yourself, man. You have to take care of yourself. You have to fight for yourself above anyone else. I have to fight for myself above this relationship, but you have to fight for yourself. Because you can't you can't have a good relationship with me if you can't take care of yourself. How are you going to take care of me and love me the way I need to be taken care of and loved if you're not even taking care and loving yourself? Right. If I'm so broken that I always have to be attached to her, and I just need you so bad, and I haven't figured out how to stay. Man, you're in trouble.
It's draining.
Yes.
I'm the other person.
That's right. And there's always time to lean on and support, but man, you have to be self-sufficient and get your thoughts right, so your self-talk can be right, so you can get your discipline. And when people are motivated, you're like, cool, I'll see you. I'm disciplined. You have to get to that point.
Hard things will come in life. That's life.
Yeah, but you got to work on growing. We all have to work on growing. We all have to grow. But if we're not working on growing, we're getting weaker. It's that simple. You're either growing or you're getting weaker. And you got to put in the work. You're not going to get bigger muscles by not going to the gym, and you're not going to get wisdom by not pumping it into your mind. You have to get...
Well, and you're not going to change your thoughts by just doing it one time.
That's right.
It's like you just said with the gym. You know, you want to lose that weight or you want to gain that muscle. You're not going to do it by going to the gym on Tuesday and then by Thursday you're buff.
You got to go every day, or you got to have a strict regimen and say, how am I going to accomplish this goal? How are we going to achieve... How are we going to elevate above our stinking thinking if we don't have a plan to get out of our stinking thinking?
Yeah.
Just crappy, low-level vibration thinking of like desperation and depression and despair, right? All this stuff.
Well, I think one thing is just to recognize it and know, because if you don't know what you don't know.
Right.
Right? And if people are not realizing that their thoughts are controlling them in such a way, then, they don't know.
Yeah.
And unfortunately for them, it's going to, eventually they'll learn, but it's just going to take them a little bit longer to get through that process, which is so tough.
Get your hands around your thoughts, buddy.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. Okay. That's good stuff right there. This is stuff that we have applied and it has really worked for us. We're not telling you guys what to do. We are sharing with you what has worked for us. I'm telling you. So if you have questions about this, feel free to reach out to us. We're going to talk about self-talk next time. This is one of my favorite ones. All this stuff is really helpful for us, and I think it's going to help you guys too. So thank you for joining us. If this helped you, share it with somebody. Let somebody else know this stuff's helped you. Yeah. And let us know if you want us to talk about any other things. So
thank you for joining us.
Yeah.
You can find us on all the platforms. You can find us on social media. On Instagram, we're at Stoic _. Well, wait, what's the podcast?
It's somewhere. Oh, the podcast?
Yeah.
Stoic Events Podcast, baby.
That's just what it is on Instagram? Okay, yeah. So Instagram. And then our website is stoicevents.net. And you can even, you can even text us. If you are struggling with anything,
that's right.
Please feel free to text us. I don't care where you are. I don't care what time it is. We will respond to you if you have any questions or issues.
559-475-1578.
Say it one more time.
559-475-1578.
Thank you.
You want to talk? Text us.
All right, guys. With that, we close it out and hope you guys have a great rest of your week, and we will see you next week.
Thank you, guys. See you.